Hi everyone, my name is Sister Eleanor. I'm a member of the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans, and I'd like to welcome you today to our smudging class, actually a smudging talk more than a class, and also on clearing space. There's many ways of doing this, but we'll first talk about smudging. I hope that hi Brother Sean, I hope that the music is not too loud. Um, okay, so let us begin. First of all, we have our candle. This is the candle I used from today that is lit for peace. And our peace prayer is a simple one. We just ask that the Great Spirit is with us today, and we cut out a little space of time for us to be together and to learn some things together. And that the Great Spirit puts on our hearts a sense of peace, a peace that we can carry within ourselves and to all people. Amen. So I'd like to first talk to you about smudging. I don't know if smudging is very prevalent in various other parts of the world, but yet it is very prevalent here. I'm just going to turn this music down a little if I can. Let me just see. It's just a tiny bit loud. Okay. So at any rate, smudging is something that is used extensively here in the US, and I know that it's used elsewhere in the world. And I'm going to focus mainly on two different cultures. The Tibetan culture in Nepal, these are the things I know, and also the Native American culture here in the United States. Now, in the United States, with smudging, there's various materials that are used for smudging. Traditionally, everybody knows about sage. I just want to show you one thing here. I have some loose sage here. If I can just show you for a second. This is loose sage that Sister Elizabeth and myself have. Okay. And this is predominantly the type of sage that is used to make bundles, sage bundles. And I'd like to actually do a class maybe with you to make sage bundles, which is very quick. We'd have to incorporate that with something else because it wouldn't take all of like 15 minutes. But I'd like to actually make sage bundles with you. Now, the Native Americans out in the West and elsewhere, but mainly out in the West, they used predominantly what they had. They had sagebrush, they had various other materials, but they used to like to use white sage a lot. Okay, so, and white sage, not the kind of culinary sage that you have in your garden, or what they have, the tricolor sage, which is beautiful with 3 different colors. I'm sure you've seen white and a green color and also a purple color, which is beautiful. We used to have it in our garden here, but predominantly white sage. And anytime here in the US, I don't know how it is, like I said, I can only speak to here, where you find seeds of white sage or you find plants on sale, they go out, they sell out very quickly because everybody wants to use white sage because they use it here for smudging and they use it for clearing space. Now there's many, many different ways of clearing space, and I'll get into a few things with that, but I'll concentrate mainly now on the sage and the smudging. Okay, we have our little box here. It has the smudging bundles in it. So after you have a bundle here of sage, you see it's burnt on the end because we've used it, but they come in various, you can see how it is. It's just the sage that is chopped off at the end, and it's made into a bundle like this. So you can use these various bundles of sage for clearing space. And I only have our little shell here, but we also have like a big abalone shell, which you put some salt in it. Okay, and this is the shell here that we're using. which has a little bit of salt inside, so that we can put out our sage bundle. Okay, when you do sage anything, when you sage yourself, when you sage a room, or you sage your home, or anybody or another person, you have to be very attentive to what's going on, because you do have plant material that's dried and it's lit, and it can have sparks come out from it. We've had that happen, and various other things. So you have to be very attentive to what you're doing. As with anything, with smudging a home or smudging yourself, okay, you have to really set your intention beforehand. I never recommend you do anything fast. You have to go into the place, or you have to sit still, and you have to say to yourself what you're doing, what your intention is. You either have to say that your intention is to get rid of, however you want to put it, but get rid of anything that is not of the light in a particular home, or for you to be protected by the sage smoke, by the smudge smoke, yourself from anything that is not of the light. However you want to say it. And I would definitely meditate for about 5 minutes and talk to Spirit, talk to our Father, Mother, God, telling Spirit, telling our Father, Mother, God what your intention is. So you always do things mindfully. You just don't go around a room waving a smudge stick around, which is fine. The smudge in and of itself, the stick, the plant material, the plant spirit that's contained in the plant material will work. But it is always better to honor the Creator who made the smudge, who made the sage, who made yourself, and will actually bless you and bless your effort. You can also ask for the help of ancestors. You can ask for the help of guides or angels, your own guardian angel. You can do all of that. So it sounds like a lot, but it only requires like 5 or 10 minutes of preparation. So now, a lot of times, Native Americans every day when they wake up will take a stick of sage. I'm going to just light it now. Okay, it's quite a fire going here. And I want to get everything, and then you just blow it out. And you see you have a lot of smoke that comes off. When it seems to be going out a little bit, all you have to do is blow on it with your breath, and it kind of makes the smoke happen again. It reinforces the smoke with the oxygen of your breath. It's actually carbon dioxide, but you're actually blowing oxygen onto it in the air. So what you basically do when you have this going and you want to actually smudge yourself off, as I said, you have your intention in place. And then you just hold the smudge stick down. And with your intention, say you want to clean off your aura, or you want to clean yourself off of any kind of negativity, and you want to protect yourself, you say this ahead of time. You say whatever you want, but I would say something like, Great Spirit, please be with me now. Father, Mother, God, please honor what I'm doing now. I want to cleanse myself. I want to cleanse my spirit of anything that is not of you, that is not of the light. I ask that you bless me now and honor my efforts. And then you just take this and you waft it over yourself. And what you're going to do is just sometimes go right down the body with it, go right down each arm. You take it below your knees and you waft it up. And your intention is to cover your head and the back of you. And just go all around. You can't really go to the back, and you really wouldn't want to, because if you go to the back, you really can't see if there's anything coming off of the smudge stick in the back. Okay, like fire, little pieces of stuff that you wouldn't want to have on the ground and start to, if you're doing it in your house, which you probably will, you don't want all that falling on the ground. Hello, Sue. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad everybody's here. I forgot to say hello to everybody, or I did say hello, but hello again to all. And so you want to just wrap this around yourself. And then you might just want to sit there for a few minutes afterwards and let the smoke just go all about you. And then just, just imbue yourself with the smoke and realize that you are being cleansed. Now, I want to tell you truthfully that this is, not New Age. It's not whatever you want to call New Age. It's not something that was discovered like 2 months ago. This has been going on for centuries. Native Americans have been doing this forever. Okay, so it's something that has always been done. And it, like I said, it benefits yourself and it benefits your environment. Now, a lot of times what people will do also, not because of the fact that there's a lot of smoke being produced, which it is, but a lot of people, in order to be closer to nature, will wake up in the morning and with their daily prayer, or their daily offering, or their daily surrender to Father, Mother, God, or Spirit, or whoever you want to call Spirit as, they will say their prayers and they will smudge themselves outside in order to be closer to nature. Because remember, you're working with a plant spirit, okay? You're working with the essence of the plant, something that was given to the plant, the essence of the plant that was given by our Father, Mother, God. The purpose of the plant was to actually help man in this manner, men and women, and to also provide medicine, etc. So every plant, every animal, every part of the earth, all of ourselves, we all have purpose that was imbued upon all of us by our Creator. So it's a nice thing to actually, since it is a plant spirit, you're working with plants, to actually go outside and be more part of nature if you can. Here I live in the city. I go outside of my door and there's concrete on the ground, but there's also many plants in pots. We try to have as much vegetation and plant life as we can here. And we brought back a lot of little animals. We brought back a lot of insects like ladybugs. We call them lightning bugs here, or fireflies, and praying mantises and the like, hummingbirds. So when I go out my door, even though I'm in the city, I'm in a big city, okay, I still honor creation and feel closer to nature as I do my smudging. What I wanted to tell you also is when you are smudging, I put this out a little bit. I just light a part of it. Now again, when you are doing smudging in a house, and actually it's preferable to smudge a house twice a year. You might want to do it in the spring and in the fall, just as you would do your fall and spring house cleaning. It's a good idea when you're, again, smudging a house, clearing the negativity out of a house, to actually, again, state your intention, to meditate a few minutes before you do your smudging and just realize what it is that you're about to do and just ask God's help in your effort. It's always nice to do everything consciously in cooperation with God. It's not that we do things apart of God. We're always doing things with God. But it's nice to actually remember what you're doing and remember God, okay, in the process. So what we do, there's many different ways. People do all kinds of things, okay? They might go into a room. They might start with a certain room. Sometimes people start with the highest room of the house and the one that's in the back, and then work their way down even into the basement. So you might go from the attic, say, to the basement. But that is really, I found, not really necessary. There's various formulas people do, but it's really not that necessary. What you can do is you can just go to each room. You stand in the middle of the room and then just waft out the smoke, okay, to the 4 directions, okay? Some people, what they will do is they will make sure that it goes to the 4 corners of the room, and you can do that also. And you stay there for as long as you like, as far as, and when you feel the energy shift, or if you can't feel an energy shift, just stay there for a while. It doesn't have to be any specified time. You don't have to stay for 10 or 15 minutes. You stay there until you feel that the energy has shifted in the room. Or, like I said, if you're not energetically aware as of yet, then you just stay there for a period of time and then leave and go to the next room until all the rooms of the house, even the bathroom, is actually smudged. Now, some people, like I said, they will go to each of the corners of the house and they'll smudge all the way around the windows in a clockwise fashion. But it has been my practice that it is really not necessary to do this. One thing that I will do, however, if I really, really feel, okay, that there is a real negativity in the house, okay, it is best to really, even if it's wintertime or if it's very cold, to open up all the windows of the house and to smudge the house. And then not to close the windows, but to leave them open. And then after all of the negativity has been cleansed out of the house, to then take something, close actually the windows then, after you've done all the smudging, close the windows, and then continue with smudging with, I usually use cedar, or rather juniper, to smudge. Okay, and that is the smudging of the Eastern Woodland Indians. They used a lot of cedar or juniper. Okay, so this is a cedar stick. It doesn't really look much different. You can't really see the difference in it. You can just see that the bundle at the bottom is a little smaller as far as the sticks. And the reason that I'm smudging again in the same fashion, going from room to room to room to room, the same thing that we did before but the windows closed, is now the intent is to put in good energy into the area. Because a lot of times, and you've probably heard this, when there's a void, when you knock out something that's negative or something that's not necessarily of the light, you want to fill then the area with something positive. And cedar, or rather juniper, I keep saying cedar, juniper is a plant material that is said to bring joy and strength and all good qualities. So what you can do is just simply, again, I'm just lighting this, just want to show you here. I'm just lighting this again, this cedar bundle. Cedar has a different smell, definitely. I'm lighting the cedar bundle and allowing it to burn in the same way, and then going from room to room to room. And it would be a good idea if you could to do the same, how shall I say, the same, not direction. I want to say this, go to the same succession of rooms. Like if you started in the back bedroom or in the attic, then you start in the attic and then you work your way down. And as I said, cedar as well as juniper, okay, is something that was used by the Eastern Woodland Indians, Native Americans of this country. So I like to use it because I do have a heritage, as you may know, of the Cherokee, and they are of the Eastern Woodland Indians. Now I also want to tell you that there's offerings of juniper that is used by, now I have another bundle here, and this is of juniper that is used by the Tibetans in their ceremonies. They don't so much have a bundle like this. They will just have individual pieces of juniper, and they can burn it or they can just use it as an offering to the various deities. And sometime I'll let you see, I have a, this is a whole other thing, but I have a rice basket filled with rice and I have several what the Tibetans would call minor deities in the basket, okay, that we've gotten from several lamas, Tibetan lamas. And in that, you'll place a little bit of an offering of juniper. So the juniper is lovely. It's a lovely smell to it, and it fills your home then with all kinds of wonderful, joyous, uplifting types of vibration. So that is a lovely thing to do. Now, I also wanted to tell you another thing, since we're talking about smudging. That's why I would always like to, if we possibly can, I'm just going to blow this one flame out because it's getting kind of low. Also, if we're talking about smudging, I'd also want to talk to you about smudging feathers. Smudging feathers, I'll show you one here. Okay, this is a smudging feather that was made by Sister Elizabeth. Okay, you see the end is wrapped with leather, and then there's various feathers, and the feather goes all the way up to here. This is a small one. Sister Elizabeth has made many of them, and she's made actually larger ones, using not an eagle feather but an imitation eagle feather, because it is against the law here to harvest any kind of certain kinds of feathers, and one of them being an eagle feather. Another feather that is used a lot is the feather of red-tailed hawk. Now, I was gifted with a red-tailed hawk feather by another Native American who gave it to me in a beautiful way in a box and had tobacco in it and all as an offering. And he said to me that I would know what to do with it. I still am not using it yet, but I would like to make a ceremonial feather like this is. And what you do with that simply is you use it instead of your hands for wafting the smudge. So you have the smudge, and what you do is you either, if you're using it for yourself, you waft it to yourself in this manner. Or if you're using it around the room, okay, when you're going from place to place, of course, you're wafting it in the direction that you want the smoke to go. Okay? So you go to the corners of the room and you use the feather to waft it or send it to the direction that you want. Now, what the beautiful thing is, and what Native Americans always believe, okay, is that anything that you use, you should make yourself. Okay, so they would really think, instead of buying a feather, even if it's not as beautiful as this one, even if it's just a feather that you found, that you should use that as your sacred feather to waft the sage. And they would even say that you should harvest your own sage, okay? Even if you buy the sage maybe or whatever, but you should make your own bundle. Because they believe, okay, that everything that you do should have your own imprint of energy on it. So if you make your bundle, you use it and you have your own energy imprint on it. If you make your feather, okay, you pick it, the feather that you like. If you find a feather, you have several feathers, you pick the one that you like and maybe you add more ornamentation to it. So they believe that the energy is always stronger when you do something like that. So now I also want to say that there are people that use lavender bundles, okay, for the calming effects of lavender. There are people that use combination bundles. It's whatever you want to use. Say, I would always use sage for clearing. And then if you want to put back certain vibrations in, then I would use whatever else you want to. I could use lavender. I could use a combination of cedar and juniper. You know, various other herbs, okay, that you could use. You could dry them out and use them for whatever it is that you wanted to put back into your home, for whatever was lacking. So the Native Americans, like I said, they do this every day, okay, in order to start their day and to clear them of all negativity. there's a lot of peoples that believe, okay, in traditions, that that you leave your body at night and you make your rounds wherever. You visit various areas, you do various things, and then you come back. But while your spirit is traveling, your body is open to all kinds of negativity and negative forces. So that's why a lot of times, you pray, you say your prayers before you go to sleep to ask God to protect you. So in the morning, there's still some lingering forces there. Some people believe, and Native Americans feel, that you have to clear yourself for the day. You don't want any of that lingering. So that's one of the reasons why they sage each day. So there are other things. Like I said, you can even take the regular sage itself like this. You don't have to have a bundle. And then you can just burn it. You can just take the tip of it like this, just a little, and then just burn it. Okay, so it still gives off that lovely smoke, and you just have it, you waft it around the room, or you carry it on a plate, something that's fireproof, and then you can just use that as well. So there's various ways of doing things, and various ways of clearing a room, I should say. Not so much cleaning, but it is a form of cleaning. So I'm just going to put this to the side and just tell you that there's other things that you can use. You can use various oils to clear a room too, to clear the room of all kinds of negativity. I'm trying to reach back here. Here it is. This is just an oil that comes from Israel, and it's a mixture of several different things. I think there's some sandalwood, there's some rose in here, and something else. And what you can do with that is, there's those little burners you can put the oil in, and then you have a flame underneath, like a tea light or a candle light, and then you can just burn that. You might even want to smudge first with white sage, and then take the oils, or an essential oil of some sort, and let the smell of the essential oil burn in each room, and then just kind of waft out that smell, or that the smell from the oil to each of the four corners. You can do that. You can also just simply use a candle, okay, the light of a candle for each room. And what I would do with this is, I would not use a paraffin candle. I would not use anything like that, but I'd use something natural, like something made of beeswax. Now, I wouldn't necessarily waft anything out per se, but I would just stand in the room with a candle with the intention that the light of the candle, as an offering to our Father, Mother, God, that this is our offering, that we would ask that our Father, Mother, God clear the room for us through the light and the offering of this candle, the offering of the light of the candle. Because not only are you having the power of the light, but you're having the offering of the beeswax and all of that, so that it would clear a room. And I would just go again from room to room to room to actually clear the room. The other thing that I have here is stick incense. I'm sure you've all seen that. This happens to be a cedar incense. And with this, I would do the same thing. I would just have it burn, and I would do the same thing as I would with a smudge, and just, waft out the smoke, okay, as it stops with the flame. Just waft out the smoke to all the four corners of the room and go on. Now, what I would say with this is also, I would not advise using any kind of materials that were imitation. If I could, okay, if you can, okay, you can do everything with intention. Even if you have something that's imitation, you can have the intention of it doing the same thing as something that is natural. But to really be on the safe side, I would get something as natural as possible. And they do make stick incense out there that is made of natural materials. This is cedar, but I also do have a stick incense made out of Douglas fir from northwest area of America. And you could do the same thing as I said. You could just go from room to room and smudge the room. And one thing also that is near and dear to our hearts that I must say is, of course, since Elizabeth and myself have dealt with singing bowls, we use the singing bowls. We use sound. And sound is used very much by the Tibetans, by the Tibetan lamas and other people that are into sound therapy and into singing bowls and all this, and know the power behind them. Actually will take a bowl and raise it to the four corners of a room and just simply stand in the room and play the bowl for a while. You could tap it, or you could play it, like I say, around the bowl. Okay, and just do that and meditate as you're doing it. You know, think of what you're doing and being very precise, not precise so much, but being very focused is a better word as to what you're doing. You don't want to do something like this where you're going to be disturbed, where you're going to have people knocking at your door, where you're going to want to pick up your cell phone or do anything of that nature. This is quiet time. This is spirit time. This is where you make a connection between yourself and spirit, using those things which God has given you. God has given you the bowl. Okay, all the metals and the ores of the bowl are God-given, and man has taken this and created something for use as a healing tool and for clearing space and various other things. So, you know, I'd like in the future to actually talk to you about some other things too, but this is like a little bit to start for today about clearing and space clearing and about smudging and all of that. Like I said, I'd like to actually teach you how to make a smudge bundle. And another thing which is good, and Native Americans do this quite a lot, and I don't know if you can see this. This is a little pouch that was made by a Native American. Okay, so open it up and you can keep whatever you like in here. Okay, for example, what I might do, especially before I do a smudging, I might keep a little bit of the sage that I'm going to use in here and just wear it around my neck. This has a long cord and it's meant to be worn around the neck. Okay, and I would keep it close to me, okay, because now you're bonding with the material that you're going to use. And it's very important to have that, to actually bond with what you're going to use, if you can, and to offer it all to our Father, Mother, God. So it's really something of connection. It's a connection of yourself to the earth and to the plant materials of the earth. It's a connection to the air. You use salt or sand to put out the fire, so it's a connection to those earth materials. And it's certainly a connection to spirit, our Father, Mother, God, and yourself. So all of these things make connection, and when all of these things make connection, that's when the beauty happens. So I just wanted to leave you with that for today. I don't know what time we actually have or not have. It's 3:33 on the dot. And basically that's what I wanted to tell you. And I hope like in the future we can continue in other things and other venues. I think next time, I don't know if I'm doing chanting or some such thing, I have to look. But we'll talk more about things of that nature, chanting and Vedic chants specifically, and how you can use them for yourself. And I'd like to get into affirmation in the future with you and other things. So God's blessings on you, and just want to thank you for being here today and listening to my talk. And I have used these things personally. I've certainly read a lot of books about it, but these are things and methods that I've used myself. So I just wanted to share these things with you as something of personal experience and something that works. Everything works with intention, but you have to be focused. You have to stay as focused as you can, but it takes practice. And then you go from there. Just always make sure you align yourself up with your God. You always know what you're doing. Take a few moments to just think about what's happening, and then go from there with the intention to praise your Father and Mother God in the process, and to offer back to our Father, Mother God what has been given to us through the process. So thank you again for being with me, and God bless you. and hope you can come and be with me again. Namaste.